My two that I'm doing, one is on Felice Navidad, and this is a picture of Felice. She was a real beauty. A very special cat, but aren't they all? Felice had a major job, though. Her real name was Felice Navidad Grace Rhoda Moss. Felice Navidad because she arrived around Christmas time. Grace because by the grace of God she survived. Rhoda because she was found on a road. And Moss because she became a Jackie cat. There had been a nice storm the day before Felice arrived. She had been seen on the road, but left for dead as she was frozen to the road. A person who had already driven by her had just assumed she was dead. When he went by her many hours later, she raised her head ever so slightly, and he, ever so gently, shoveled her off to get her unstuck. He took her to a friend's house who wrapped her up and brought her to FFRC. She was suffering from severe hypothermia and neurological problems. The first days was touch and go. Each day was a struggle. Just breathing the first 2 days was hard. The most wonderful thing, though, Felice purred through it all. For the first day, she was non-stop purring. On day 4, she tried to stand, and on day 5, she could walk, but in circles, over and over again. But she did start her real journey back on that day. Her ordeal left her with severe neurological problems. She had seizures, but they were able to be controlled. She was a survivor. Because of her, FFRC started the Felice Navidad Medical Fund. It was set up to have funds available for those cases where there are extraordinary medical costs. Felice survived. She loved being a house cat. At the times she would become extra excited, she would start her circling again, but nothing that was a real problem. She was a happy cat and loved to be cuddled. Then, in 2013, her seizures came back with a vengeance. They could not be controlled. With much sadness, Felice Navidad was sent on her way to kitty heaven. She was and is still missed very much, but her job continues. We still have her Felice Navidad Fund. Monies donated for extra medical needs goes to this fund. It has literally saved so many lives. And Felice Navidad was also featured as a rescue cat in Cat Fancy magazine. My next story is about Patience. You've all heard us talk about Patience's pin. This is a picture of Patience. Show you one more page. She was an awesome cat. You all know how I feel about Zelda. Patience was the same way. On 7/21/2002, we had some young kids come for a visit at the rescue center. The girl told me that her parents took their old calico cat that was declawed to the shelter because she had fleas, and she would be put to sleep the next day if no one gave her a home. She was 10 years old at the time. I told her if she could have her family go get her and bring her here, we would take her. I didn't hear back, but the next morning on the doorstep was a crate with an older calico declawed cat complete with fleas. No note of explanation, but obviously was the same cat. So we took her in, fed her, rid her of her fleas, and set her up in a nice pen. On the second day, she looked like she would like to come out, so we opened the door. And that was the last we saw her for 17 days. Yes, 17 days. She just disappeared. We all searched high and low, even went outside. It was like she disappeared in thin air. Volunteers came and looked day after day after day. No calico cat. We hadn't even named her yet. Our rescue center was due for an overhaul. We wanted to change rooms around and rearrange. Now, the date to do this was still days away. But one day, we happened to have extra volunteers here and decided to start the rearranging then, and I am so grateful we did. In the kitty campus room was a big pen that we wanted here in the main area. It couldn't fit tight against the back wall because of how the room was. Bill, Angie, and a couple other friends started to move this pen out, which had a covered bottom to the floor, when Bill says, "Who is this cat?" We all looked and cried. It was our missing calico cat. This truly broke our heart. To think she was there all along and didn't meow for us to help her. Remember, she was declawed and had to have slipped off the back of this pin on the floor and then just stayed under the pin. She couldn't climb back up. Once under there was no way to squeeze out. Did she have food? Maybe a few crumbles? Water? I don't know how she could have. But she was found and desperately needed help. She was emaciated and severely dehydrated. We stopped all things to start attending to her. IV fluids were given and tons of holding. I remember sitting on the stool with her wrapped in a blanket. I promised her if she survived, she would never have to leave. We would give her a home forever. And she was given a name right then, Patience. She had patiently waited for us to find her. It was a rough battle, though. For 4 weeks she was tube-fed because she simply would not eat by herself. A consultation with the vets wasn't encouraging. They thought she would probably not make it. And it was truly beginning to feel that way. It was decided that we would give her a little more time. Then, on a wonderful day, one of the volunteers hollered out, "Patience, just drink some water." What joy we felt. A few days later, she started to eat. We were so happy. Patience came to be much needed here at FFRC. She had a special way with the kittens and would bathe any of them that came and laid with her. We kept her in a pen that she stayed in for years. I should clarify, she wasn't kept in the pen. She had her pen that she picked. When she could go in at any time that she wanted to, and she always went in there at night.
We fed her there.
And we fed her there. Yep, she picked that as hers. It was always called Patience's pen. It's where pin 1, 2, 3, 4 is now. And actually, this pin here, pin 3, has a sign at the top, Patience's pen. She stayed with us for many years before she passed away at the age of 16. She was a beautiful girl and was very loved. And Patience had her picture on a magazine when we won the Animal Planet Cat Hero of the Year award. She was on the rocking chair with us.
Jackie blamed me for putting her back there, though.
Yeah. Okay.